Howdy, friends. Welcome back. Um, Again, I make these primarily for my friends, my sons, just to have a way to connect with them and communicate with them. I hope you enjoy them. If you like what you hear, if it helps you in any way, shape, or form, please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I don't really do this for any kind of monetary gain or anything like that. I don't think I could make money at this. Um, if you don't like it, send it to somebody you hate. So let's dive in. Um, it's been a while since I made one of these, and there's been some things, just kind of going on. A transition in my life, in the life of my wife, my mother-in-law, and but also on the inside of me, there's I've just been thinking about the whole idea of being a Christian. Being, what does that mean? We have a tendency in our world and in our country to just throw words around kind of loosely and without any thought about really what are we saying. And so a lot of words get misused and misapplied. And I don't want any of this to come across as any kind of condemnation. For me, it's been a kind of a sobering thing to where I've had to really go, what does it mean to follow Jesus? And if I say that I follow Jesus, what does that mean? And in the context of his day, it meant you become his apprentice. You become a disciple of his. And you start seeking, you start practicing, putting into place and practicing the things that Jesus has taught and teaches, and the things that he says. You basically let go of your way of doing life and you take on his way of doing life and of facing situations and relationships, and you begin to live by the life of another. And you begin to let go of your way of thinking and your way of doing things. And you begin to embrace a new way, his way. That has really spoken to me. In the 12 steps, step number 3 is we made a decision to turn our lives and our will over to the care of God as we understood him. For me, I understand that a little bit more like this. We make a decision to turn our lives and our will and our way of doing things over to him. And we place ourselves completely in his care and under his governance and his guidance. And we trust him to bring us into the fullness of that understanding and what that means and how it works out. So I've been reading through the life of Jesus, just finished recently the Gospel of Matthew. And I've really tried and prayed and asked to just let me read and let me see your life and let me understand that, to see your life. And that was one of the things that has really been eye-opening to me is that you don't see Jesus living reactionary. You see Jesus just acting. You don't see Jesus trying to figure out, is this right or is this not? Is this the right way? Is this the wrong way? Is this good, evil, bad? What you see is a life lived with God. Now, this usually opens up, I'm going to adjust this a little bit here, forgive me. Look at that, 3D action, isn't that awesome? Okay, this usually opens up, the line of things where people go, yeah, but Jesus was the Son of God. I mean, Jesus was God, But the teaching of Christianity down through ages, the historic Christian teaching and the understanding of Jesus is that Jesus was 100% man and he was 100% God. And he lived on earth as man in total dependence on God the Father. Okay? Ian Thomas used to say it this way, that Jesus, although he was never ever less than God, lived on earth as if he were never ever more than man. But he lived his life as man in the right relationship to the Father. In other words, he lived as man the way God created man to live in relationship to God, which just raises the point, it takes God to be a man. All right? So, Jesus came and lived a human life, and he lived it the way he designed human beings to live in relationship with him and to him. And that was something that really stood out to me in the Gospel of Matthew, is that Jesus just lived. Jesus would be confronted by the Pharisees, and their accusations were always rooted in some kind of law or rules or regulation. You didn't do, or some kind of expectation or some kind of line that they had drawn or somebody had drawn, and Jesus just kind of went, I don't live by that. I live by love. I live by life. And so I want to discover more of that. I want to learn. I have prayed and have begun praying and asking Jesus to receive me as a disciple and to let me learn from him and to learn to do life with him in the kingdom of God. And the kingdom of God is not there and then, it's here and now. And we can live in it here and now with Jesus. So I just encourage you, at least I hope this encourages you to come to Jesus and to come with a new understanding that there is a way of life that he will teach us. And it's a life that lets us be human, but frees him to be God in our experience. And it's a life that'll fulfill us a lot more than anything we can come up with on our own. And it's a life that we practice. It's not about perfection. It's about an ongoing practice called discipleship. God bless you. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time.